This is Skyblock Infinite, a randomly generated skyblock world where you spawn on a single island surrounded by the void, with very few other islands on the horizon, with structures, dangerous trials, and with lots of treasures to be found. I'm beginning this world with one chest, one tree, and one goal: to survive 100 days and to build an amazing base by the end, all in hardcore, so one mistake will end this series. Day 1 started with me getting my bearings. I spawned on an island with a dark oak tree, which is great because oak and dark oak are the only trees that drop apples, which will come in handy later. Also being very lucky to spawn next to a spruce tree island, which will allow me to get another wood type very early on. I also noticed off in the distance a ruined portal and a couple shipwrecks, which would be great for loot. I started breaking the grass, hoping for some seeds so I can get wheat later on, luckily getting 2 seeds to start. And then started breaking the first and second layer of the dirt so I can flatten out this island to give me a little bit more space to work with. Trying my best not to knock any dirt into the void because resources are very limited in this world. I then expanded my island out underneath the dark oak tree so I can catch any saplings that might potentially fall. Oh no! With the unfortunate casualty of one dirt block, I started to build the area where I can make my rudimentary cobblestone generator, giving myself a little bit of space on the opposite side of the island from the tree, and started to build up an area to contain the water from the ice that's in the chest, and then an area to contain the lava. But I wasn't keeping track of how much dirt I was using, so I needed to get a little bit more. So I started chopping down the dark oak tree so I can turn the dark oak into dark oak slabs so I can get some extra dirt from the island close by. Crafting this world's first crafting table, and then turning those logs into planks and those planks into slabs. Taking those slabs and starting to bridge over to the neighboring spruce island so I can get a little bit more dirt so I can make a rudimentary cobblestone generator. I made a small platform to avoid any of the dirt from falling into the void. I want to avoid losing as much resources as possible, and then gather just enough dirt so I can contain the water from the ice that I'll break here and the lava so I can make myself my cobblestone generator. So I placed those dirt blocks behind the area where I'm going to put the ice and the lava, making sure the lava is completely contained so I don't accidentally set myself on fire and die really early in this series. So I placed the lava on one side, placed the ice, and let's hope I don't make obsidian. Alright, good. And now I theoretically can have infinite cobblestone. So I turned some planks into sticks, and then used those sticks to make my first pickaxe. And then started mining just a little bit of cobblestone so I can make myself a stone axe to be able to cut down the oak tree. So I hopefully can get some saplings and get them to grow while I continue to mine some cobblestone. And with that new stone axe, I made easy work of this dark oak tree so I can start getting saplings to replant and regrow this island. And then expanded the platform over by the spruce island close by in preparation for tearing down that island completely to expand my main island with additional dirt and hopefully some spruce saplings. But while doing so, I noticed that 3 saplings fell from the dark oak tree, which is huge because now I have enough dark oak saplings to plant a new dark oak tree. And then headed back to the other island, harvesting the sweet berries, cutting down the spruce tree, and taking all the dirt with me and to expand my main island. And through the night, I continued to harvest all the dirt from the spruce island so I could have a little bit more space on my main starter island. And while doing so, I was able to get a couple spruce saplings and a couple more dark oak saplings. So I'll store the dark oak saplings in the chest and expand this island so I have some space to plant my spruce trees. And after expanding the island, I planted my spruce trees, my sweet berries, and then spent most of the rest of the night mining cobblestone. I also decided to move the crafting bench behind the cobblestone generator, this way that no cobblestone will fall into the void. And then got to mining. And I took breaks every once in a while to harvest the sweet berries to plant them to increase my food supply. And also decided to replace some of the dirt around the cobblestone generator so I can use the dirt elsewhere throughout the island. Ah, dang it. Lost one. And then continued to mine cobblestone into the morning of day 2, finally breaking the wooden pickaxe that I crafted initially, and then crafting a much deserved upgrade into the Stone Age. Started day 2 by mining more cobblestone, and started to think about some of my early game goals, which is to get to that ruined portal, also to get an infinite water source. So I crafted a composter so I can get some bone meal, because I know there is a trick to get an additional water source by bone mealing blocks underwater. I then moved the chest from the floating position back to the ground. And then my first sapling grew, so I can get more spruce logs. And hopefully we'll get enough saplings to get a 2x2 spruce tree. And would you look at that? Really quick. Sapling falls. So I decided to build a platform where I can place a 2x2 dirt slab where I can plant the sapling without turning all of my dirt into puzzles. And then decided to make the platform a little bit safer by making the walkway too wide, and then adding a little bit of a lip on the edge, and then planting my saplings. As more sweet berries grew, I harvested those and then planted them around the edge of the island. I know sweet berries aren't the best food, but they're better than nothing. And then went to cut down the next 2 dark oak trees that grew, which got me my first apple. And I'll save that for when I need to cure a zombie villager in the future. And as I finished cutting down that last dark oak tree, I was lucky enough to get a second apple. So now I just need some zombie villagers and some gold, and I can get 2 regular villagers. And during the night of day 2, I started adding fences on the platforms on the outside, and I also got my first kill, even though it was a fish. I also decided that fences would be safer than slabs around my spruce tree platform. And I continued to mine some cobble so I can make myself a furnace, so I can smelt some of the logs to make some torches. So I can add some light to this island, so I can make sure that no mobs spawn. I know mobs are important and they'll give me a lot of good items later on, but I want to make sure I control their spawning locations so they don't accidentally kill me. And with the sun rising onto day 3, I continue planting my sweet berries and realizing that these are kind of hazardous. And to begin day 3, I spotted something pretty amazing off in the distance, a sheep. So knowing I wanted to lure that sheep in, I crafted a hoe so I can plant my seeds finally, so I can start growing some wheat to lure that sheep to my island eventually. And I'm kicking myself for not planting these earlier. And while I waited for the wheat to grow, I created another platform on the opposite side of where the spruce trees are growing for the dark oak trees eventually. Surrounding that platform with cobbled slabs like the other side, and then putting fences around it to keep it safe. And into the night of day 3, I was tired of running into the sweetberry bushes, so I decided to make a little bit of a barrier with slabs above them, so I stopped running into them and damaging myself unnecessarily. And while doing so, I was smelting some cobblestone to turn it into stone and eventually into stone bricks. This way I can use the stone bricks to make my island a little bit nicer, replacing the cobblestone around the cobblestone generator with some stone bricks, making sure that I don't let the lava flow out and accidentally set myself on fire, and then making myself a little shack, I guess you can call it, or a pavilion maybe, where I can keep myself covered by a solid block, especially because I'm not going to be able to sleep or jump into a bed for a few days. And I don't want to deal with phantoms spawning and potentially killing me. And harvesting the sweet berries with this little railing makes it a little bit nicer so I don't accidentally damage myself. And I want to harvest enough not only to have a decent amount of food, but also to start using these to produce some bone meal, because I do want to get that infinite water source soon. So using them in the composter to get my first piece of bone meal. And I thought I'd use this platform for dark oak, but I think it'd be a great spot for my infinite water source. So I created a too high little area, and as the sun rose on day 4, I replaced the slabs on the bottom with some cobblestone so I can bone meal once they're underwater, and then replace the planks. And then borrowing the water from the cobblestone generator, and then placing that water so it flows down onto the cobblestone on the floor here. And then bone mealing that cobblestone to create seagrass. That way it creates an infinite water source for me, so I can have as much water as I need. And then I built out my little pavilion so I can add a door to keep myself a little bit safe just in case any mob spawns at night. And then continue to compost the sweet berries so I can get more bone meal so I can grow the wheat a little bit faster to lure in that sheep. So I started bridging over to the birch island off in the distance where that sheep was spawning, and had to build a little staircase to get up to the sheep. However, once I finally got to the sheep, the sun started setting and I realized I didn't light up any of this area, so it's not safe for mobs. So I decided to run back to the island and spend the rest of the night mining cobblestone, and then building out the area with stone bricks around the cobblestone generator, expanding my little hut so it's a 2x2 so I have a little bit more space, all while I waited for the sun to rise on day 5. And first things first, for day 5, I went to lure that sheep to my island so I could have myself a little friend. Hey there, little sheep. You're gonna love your new home. I'm not gonna keep you in a tiny little fenced-in pen at all and use you for your wool. No, I wouldn't do that at all. That is just mean and cruel. And don't you dare fall off this small little bridge. All right, we made it back. Welcome to your new home, Mr. Sheep. Let's just shut this gate behind you. Due to limited space, I decided to tear down one side of the sweet berries and build a little pen for my new friend. This way, you won't accidentally fall and die in the void. I hope you like it. It's only a little bit smaller than that island you were living on earlier. Also, let me know in the comments if you have a name idea for Mr. Sheep here. Next, I moved my wheat plants over closer to the sheep. This way, it'd be a little bit easier if I ever get to a friend to breed and have more sheep. And the night of day 5 was shocking, literally. I hope that lightning doesn't light anything on fire on my island. But as I weathered the storm, I built another platform similar to where the spruce trees are growing, because I need a platform to grow my dark oak now. I know initially I wanted to build it over by the other side, but the infinite water source took its place. I put the finishing touches on that platform as the sun rose on day 6. And being confident that I have enough materials to make it over to the ruined nether portal, I started to bridge over with the dark oak slabs that I've been getting as I've been harvesting those dark oak trees. Carefully making my way over to the ruined nether portal, having to stare my way up to see what treasure awaits me there. And let's carefully make it around this corner. Oh, that is huge. Huge. 2 golden apples. And then running back to my main island as the sun was setting so I don't run into any mobs. And then spending the remainder of night 6 mining cobblestone so I can prepare to get enough materials to make myself a mob farm. I plan to make it out of mostly stone bricks. And as the sun rose on day 7, I headed out to see what loot I can find in the shipwreck off in the distance. However, I ran out of slabs on the way, so I had to head back to craft more slabs. And I did that into the night, and then spent the rest of the night mining cobblestone. And first things first, on day 8, I finished my bridge to the shipwreck, and then placed some water onto the slab, and then made sure that the water was going to actually hit the shipwreck, because I don't accidentally want to fall in the void and ruin this world this early. And being confident that the water's in the right place, I jumped in and worked my way down into the shipwreck. Although being jump scared by falling squid on the way down. As I got into the shipwreck, I realized that I'm not alone here. Because the roof of the shipwreck covers the light, a skeleton happened to spawn, and I'm not prepared to fight this head on. So using what little brain cells that I have, I decided it'd be a good idea to break the roof of the shipwreck so I can use the sunlight to burn the skeleton instead of fighting it without armor or a shield or anything. But I want to take this very slow, making sure that I don't accidentally get shot or knocked off the edge. I also thought it'd be a good idea to block off the water because the water prevents the skeleton from burning at all. I slowly continued to break the blocks above where the skeleton was hiding so I can use the sun as the powerful weapon to burn the skeleton. But I had to take things very, very slow because this skeleton was very aggro on me now. While dodging some of the arrow shots, I noticed the other chest in the shipwreck with some pretty good loot. Some bamboo, some wheat, paper, and some armor trims. With the first chest looted, I went back to continue my fights with the skeleton, breaking blocks above his head even more, and this time finally getting it to set itself on fire, and making sure to dodge any of the arrow shots when it ran out of its cover, and then being smart to quickly put on the leather chest piece that I found in the other chest, and then finally breaking the last few blocks that are protecting the skeleton from the sun, and running away when it's peeking out so I can dodge any potential arrows that would hit me. And as the skeleton met its cruel fate, being burned in the sun, I was free to go loot the other chest in the shipwreck with great rewards, getting a handful of iron, some emeralds, some more trims, and some iron nuggets. I would say this trip to the shipwreck was very successful. And using the water that I placed earlier, I swam back up to the slab bridge to head back to my home. And with the looted iron, I crafted some shears so I can start getting some wool from the sheep. Hey there, Mr. Sheep. Yep, you're going to be useful. However, I only got one piece of wool from the first shear, which unfortunately isn't enough to make a bed yet. So I planted my bamboo and then spent the rest of night 8 and then continued the endless grind of mining cobblestone. However, making sure to take breaks to harvest other resources as well. Like when I needed to shear the sheep, which this time I got 2 wool, giving me 3 so I can make a bed, and this way I can avoid the phantoms now. I spent day 9 by cutting down more trees so I could get more logs, more planks, and more slabs. Using some of those slabs to start making a platform over the island where the sheep spawn, where the birch tree is at. And then cut down the birch tree, which will hopefully unlock another wood type. I then tore down all the dirt from this island and then started to place that dirt onto the platform to let the grass grow, so hopefully more passive mobs will spawn here. And luckily, a single birch sapling fell as I was spreading out that dirt. I then built another platform for those birch trees to grow on my main island. I followed the same pattern with the dark oak slabs in the middle, surrounded by the cobblestone slabs, and then dirt in the middle where I can plant the birch sapling. I spent day 10 mining cobblestone, smelting that cobblestone into stone, crafting that stone into stone bricks in order to gather enough stone bricks to make a mob farm. I also continued to cut down the trees that would continue to grow, harvested sugarcane, continued to shear my sheep, and mined more cobblestone. On the night of day 10, I noticed an enderman spawn. So with the hope of getting an ender pearl, I looked him square in the eyes, knowing I'd be safe in my little hut, and started whacking. But unfortunately, I ended up knocking the enderman straight into the void. On day 11, I bridged my way over to a dripstone cave floating in the void. And I made sure that my water was in the correct place, and I jumped down to gather some dripstone. I placed a few slabs to make sure that the dripstone didn't fall into the void, and then carefully mined my first piece of pointed dripstone. And with that dripstone, I decided it would be a good idea to invest into a cauldron. This way, I can start duplicating my lava. So I built a little staircase below my cobblestone generator to place my cauldron down, and then placed a piece of pointed dripstone on the solid block where the lava was sitting. And then continued to mine more cobblestone as the sun rose on day 12. I spent day 12 gathering the remaining resources I needed to make my mob farm, using birch to make charcoal, because that's the only thing it's good for, mining more cobblestone, smelting that into stone to craft into stone bricks. The mob farm needs about 18 stacks of stone bricks. And then I collected some spruce wood, so I have enough spruce wood to make plenty of trapdoors as well as spruce fencing around the platform. And I gathered those resources until the morning of day 13, where I began to build a platform and my mob farm. So I've been killing some mobs for a while, and funny enough, the angle that the mob farm is at allows the skeletons to get line of sight, and they end up shooting the creepers. This is also a seedy farm, funny enough. So now I just need to spend some time, and I'm looking to see if I can get a witch and potentially some zombie villagers. Because I don't have access to brewing yet, I need the witch to be able to throw weakness potions at a zombie villager. In preparation for the witch and the zombie villagers, I crafted a few boats. and then continued to kill mobs into the morning of day 16, where I combined a lot of the broken bows to make a fully repaired bow, and then started to make an area where I could put the zombie villagers once they eventually show up, by placing down one of the boats that I crafted earlier, and then creating a little area where they can be blocked from any of the sunlight because I don't want them to burn. And I went back to kill more mobs when I noticed there was a witch. So I cleared out some of the mobs, and just so happened another witch fell as well. And once the other mobs were cleared out, I placed down a boat to capture the witches, and then went to break some of the blocks so the witches could get out of the mob farm so we can trap them in a boat. But I didn't think about blocking off the other mobs above. So I had to kill a few more of them just to make sure that I didn't have too many to deal with. And then finally decided just to break that block and lure them into the boat. And at this point, I'm glad that I put gates on the outside there. So all I needed to do is get some distance so I didn't get hit by the potions or any of the arrows from the skeletons. And I was able to hide so I can recover some of my health so I can take out some of these extra mobs before I could go and move the witches. So using my newly crafted bow, I took out the zombies, the creepers, and the skeletons one by one to make sure it was just the 2 witches left. And because I only needed 1 witch, I proceeded to just kill one of them while it was in the boat. And then I quickly ran and plugged the mob farm so no more mobs could get out. And then jumped in the boat with the witch, and then slowly worked over to where I wanted to hold the witch. You see, I need the witch close to where I'm going to be storing zombie villagers, so when the witch throws the weakness potions, those potions will hit the zombie villagers, allowing them to be cured with the golden apples. And with that brush of death over, I decided to encase the witch so it didn't have line of sight on me while I was trying to get those zombie villagers on day 17. And I was lucky that a zombie villager spawned pretty soon after I caught that witch. So I had to repeat the process of clearing the extra mobs, and then I opened up the mob farm so the zombie villagers could chase me into a boat. And then quickly ran in and plugged the hole so no more mobs could come out of the mob farm. And then carefully broke the boat, leading the zombie villager into the boat next to where the witch was held. And then grabbed the golden apples because I'm ready to cure that zombie villager. So I stood on the opposite side of the zombie villager, hoping that the witch would throw a weakness potion hitting me and the zombie villager, without any luck at all. Not realizing that you have to be within 3 blocks of the witch for them to throw a weakness potion. So repeating this process, I got lucky with the witch throwing a weakness potion really soon, but it didn't hit the zombie villager. But in the meantime, another zombie villager spawned in the mob farm, and this time I was smart enough to block off the mobs from above, making this whole process a whole lot easier when I was ready to lure the zombie villager out of the mob farm, not allowing any more mobs to fall into the mob farm and potentially escape as well. So I left the zombie villager out and lured it over to the boat next to the witch and with the other zombie villager. And spent pretty much all of day 19 trying to get the witch to throw a weakness potion at me and the other zombie villagers, repeating this process into the night of day 19, where finally it worked. So I frantically blocked off the witch and grabbed the golden apples from my inventory, fumbling around because I want to be quick. However, I was only fast enough to cure one of the 2 zombie villagers. And then, completely out of habit, while trying to regain my health, I ended up eating one of the golden apples. And then actually using my good brain cell, I realized I would need to separate the zombie villagers so the one doesn't convert the cured one back to a zombie villager. So I looped the 2 zombie villagers, thinking about how I could save the other one, but then ultimately realized that I'm probably just going to have to kill the other zombie villager and hope to get another one soon. And as the sun was coming up on day 20, I realized the zombie villager wasn't covered, so I ended up looping the zombie villager around the mob farm, keeping it safe from the sun, and then eventually grabbing the boat they were in earlier to lure the zombie villager back in the boat, keeping it under the mob farm where the deadly rays of the sun aren't going to kill it. And while harvesting some wheat, the curing process finally finished. So I carefully broke the boat that the villager was in, and then pushed him back into a boat to keep him safe so it didn't fall off any of the edges because you were too much work to lose. And with one villager down, I needed a second to start creating my villager workforce. And I was lucky that another zombie villager spawned on the night of day 20. However, while trying to clear out a witch, I accidentally killed the other zombie villager. So I spent a ridiculous amount of time where finally another zombie villager spawned. So I blocked off the chute where the mobs would fall into the killing chamber as quick as possible, so I can meticulously clear out the remaining mobs in the mob farm, leaving the zombie villager by itself, and lured it into a boat as the sun was rising on day 21, where I would head out to find another ruined portal. I remember seeing one when I went to get the dripstone, and luckily it looked like there's a block of gold on the edge. So I spent some time bridging over the void, making sure I don't release the shift button. And as the sun was beginning to set on day 21, I finally made it to the ruined portal, where I took a quick peek at the chest, which didn't have that great of loot, and then made sure that the area around the gold block was safe because I do not want to lose this gold. And using an iron pickaxe, which I made earlier with the iron from the shipwreck, I got my first gold block, and then magically turned night into day. And I'm very glad that I have a bow, because I'm able to take out these creepers from a nice distance, sending them into the void to clear my path home. And once I was back home, I grabbed the apples that fell from the oak trees earlier, turned the gold block into gold ingots, and then crafted myself another golden apple. And then repeated the process with the witch, where I hope that I get a weakness potion thrown at me early on. And I was very lucky to get that weakness potion thrown quickly. However, it didn't interact with the zombie. So here I go again, making sure I have quick access to my food to recover my health, enduring the annoying poison thrown at me, and then finally, the zombie villager getting hit by the weakness potion, and I quickly gave it the golden apple and then blocked off the witch. And then while organizing chests around the mob farm, I heard an amazing sound. I now have 2 cured villagers. So I hopped in the boat with the villager and rode him right on over close to his new friend. With 2 villagers, I'm going to be able to unlock a whole lot more items and gear in this Skyblock world, which will help me prepare to go to the nether and eventually to try to find the stronghold and go to the end. But first, I need to take care of a not so friendly friend. I know this witch helped cure my villagers, but I'm not a huge fan of keeping things around that are actively trying to kill me, at least without a purpose. So time to say goodbye to our witch friend. I'd rate your services 2.5 out of 5. Shout out to Potato Gamer for suggesting we call our sheep Bella. I need at least 7 beds for the villager breeder and iron farm, so Bella's gonna come in handy for sure. I'm now expanding my sky island so I can make enough space for my automatic villager breeder. By continuing to use the same pattern with dark oak and then eventually surrounding these with cobblestone slabs, the automatic villager breeder I plan to make is a modified version of one by Razework. Link in the video description. It seems I'm doomed to mine cobblestone in this Let's Play forever. However, I'm glad that I got bored and checked the platform, because it definitely made a little bit of a mob farm. I'm glad that no zombies noticed my villagers to potentially turn them back into zombie villagers, which would reverse all the hard work that I had in episode 1. So pulling out my not so existent NCC skills, I was able to take out these zombies before they were able to attack my villagers, and quickly put up a wall to protect them for the rest of the night. I also got really lucky shearing Bella again and getting the rest of the wool I need for all of the beds. 21 wool should be plenty for all the beds I need. With the villagers safe, I went back to mining some cobblestone. That cobblestone will come in handy to be crafted back into cobblestone slabs so I can surround the dark oak platform perimeter. And then cut down some more spruce wood so I can make the fences that I need to keep myself safe. And then planted carrots and bone meal the carrots so I can quickly get enough carrots for the villager breeder itself. Spending the rest of night 23 gathering most of the materials I need for my villager breeder. And then called upon my first-person Fortnite skills to take out the rest of the mobs that aren't burning to the harsh ultraviolet rays of the sun. And then putting that cobblestone to good use by finishing the cobblestone perimeter, completely surrounding the dark oak, and then placing spruce fences all over the cobblestone slabs. The villager breeder needs to be raised a few blocks, That way it makes the collection area for the villagers easier to build, so I don't need to build below the platform, because the new villagers will fall down into a collection area. At this point, I've also given up on passive mobs spawning where the Birch Island once was, so I'm using the dirt from that area to build the farmland in the villager breeder. But unfortunately not having quite enough dirt, so I decided to grab a couple rows from my main island. To avoid any more loss, I need to add some slabs below the dirt. So I ended up swimming down into a water column to add slabs below the dirt so I don't lose any more to the void. It's definitely an interesting challenge when dirt is your limited resource in a playthrough. Now with the dirt protected from the void, I should be able to collect enough to finish my farmland for my villager breeder. And I'll replace the dirt with stone bricks and use that dirt to fill out the area where the farmland will be in the villager breeder. However, I was a bit annoyed that I didn't have my farm centered, so I started tearing down one side. Luckily, having almost enough dirt to fill out a 7x7 area, and then re-surrounded the dirt with the stone bricks. I also made sure to add some torches to make sure that no more mobs spawn in this area. And missing just a couple blocks of dirt, I decided to take one more row of dirt from my main island, and then replace the dirt with stone bricks like before. I finally then had enough to fill out a 7x7 area. The most effective design is actually a 9x9 area, but I don't have quite enough dirt for that. And as the sun started to rise on day 25, I started to till the soil. I surrounded the area with more stone bricks and started to plant the carrots that the farmers will harvest. Relocated my composter. The composter will give one of the villagers a profession, and then blocked off my water source because I know what I'm doing. Then placing a temporary block so I can get my composter placed in the correct place, and having to replace my water source to keep the farmland hydrated. And of course, tilled that last soil and planted the last carrot. And then continued the grind of mining cobblestone for more stone bricks. I also realized that the platform I made is a little bit too small. I don't have any space for the area to collect the villagers, so I spent some time expanding out the platform a little bit. This way I'd have plenty of space to build out the collection area of my villager breeder. Of course, making sure that it's safe. And then to make it a little bit easier to move the villagers, I decided to move my infinite water source, recreating the box where the water's held, and then using my bucket to grab one water at a time. This way, hopefully there's less obstacles for the villagers to path around, but this is Minecraft. We all know villager pathing is terrible. While the water moved and the platform expanded, I continued to build up the layer around the farm area to contain the villagers, and placed a trap door to block the villagers from leaving, and then placed a solid block on the composter and surrounded it with trap doors. This way the villagers can't actually get to the composter, but they still think they can, so they won't lose their profession, because one villager has to maintain the farmer profession. And then place a trap door at the front to trick the baby villagers when I was so rudely interrupted by literally the worst mob in the game. Why did we vote for phantoms again? I mean, the only purpose they serve is to annoy us. Nobody uses phantom membranes to repair elytra, and if you do, I don't know if we could be friends, because obviously mending is the superior option. But anyway, after hopping into a bed to stop more spawning, I shut myself in to mine cobblestone for a while, but I couldn't handle their annoying screeches, so I decided they must be taken care of. The only thing good about phantoms are their glowing green eyes. And after killing the mobs that make me glad there's not a mob vote anymore, I crafted the 7 beds that I needed for the iron farm and villager breeder, placing 4 beds on the outside of the farm area. That way there's enough beds for the 2 villagers inside and enough to have them breed more. And then carefully breaking the boat, hoping they would go straight to their new home. Luckily, being fast enough to get both villagers out of their boats to go to the beds before day 26. I started day 26 by blocking off the area so they can't escape, and then using workstations to lure both villagers into the farm area. And we all know trying to get villagers places is such a pain. I know Mojang has been talking about nerfing villager trades, but you know, villagers are so annoying anyway, I don't think they need a nerf. But once I had both villagers in the farm area, I quickly shut them in and removed the extra workstation, and then added slabs to the top to prevent mob spawning. Next, building a holding cell for the baby villagers. the baby villagers will pathfind onto that trapdoor and then fall down onto these slabs to be pushed by water to these upper slabs. Once the baby villagers grow up to adults, they will clip through those upper slabs and then eventually get pushed by more water into a holding collection area. Being completely fed up with building up and down with wood, I decided to craft some scaffolding. Now, one thing to note, I have mostly played Bedrock, and placing scaffolding on Bedrock is a lot different than Java. So I definitely struggled a little bit to try to pillar up with the scaffolding. But no need to fear, I know what I'm doing. And now with the convenience of scaffolding, I finished the collection area of the villager breeder, placing water at the top to push the villagers into the collection area, where below I built a little fenced in spot where they can't escape unless I open the gate. Also deciding to add some more visibility in the farm, removing some of the planks and replacing them with fences, as well as removing some of the side planks and replacing those with slabs so I can see how many baby villagers are in the collection area. So at this point, the villager breeder is complete. I could just leave it, but let's encourage them a little bit faster. So giving them some of my extra carrots to encourage them to breed and have a baby. You know, I love Minecraft, but sometimes this game is very weird. I mean, we're giving villagers carrots so they have children, but you know, whatever works. And with that, our first baby villager. It seems this automatic villager breeder is working as the baby villager went to the correct area, waiting to grow up, where eventually it will clip through the top slabs there and then be pushed into the collection area. And with one down, two to go, on to start building a platform for my iron farm, deciding to build this farm close to the mob farm so it's easier to transport zombies later on. I really don't know who to credit for this iron farm design. I feel like it's a pretty universal design where it uses 3 villagers that are scared by a zombie. And as those villagers are being scared by the zombie, an iron golem will spawn and then be pushed into lava. So I spent some time gathering more charcoal so I can make more non-flammable stone bricks. Using those stone bricks to make a structure to contain my villagers, and using some spruce trapdoors to protect them from a zombie that will eventually be in front of those. Of course, having to mine more cobblestone, like always. But while I was gathering the remaining materials for the iron farm, I noticed we have our first villager from the breeder. So on the night of day 28, I started to encourage that villager to make its way over to the iron farm. Although progress is a little slow, luring villagers with beds at night or workstations during the day is a pretty effective, low-cost way to encourage villagers to go where you want them to go. Although it is frustrating at times. So I built some more while I waited for the villager to finally find its way to its forever home. But this guy, even though isn't wearing green, doesn't quite understand how to get around some trapdoors. I would think that you, sir, are a nitwit. But that's 1 villager down, 2 to go. I then spent the remainder of day 28 mining more cobblestone, using my premium birch charcoal to smelt it to make more stone bricks, until the morning of day 29, which started by luring my next prisoner. Worker? Yeah, this guy, he volunteered to be scared by zombies and spawn iron golems for me. He's not a prisoner, this is all voluntary. Even though I kinda had to force him over there. And while waiting for nightfall, I continued to build the iron farm enclosure. I'm actually starting to believe this guy volunteered to be close to zombies. I mean, look at him. And since my first 2 villagers are breeding like rabbits, it must be all the carrots they're eating, I was able to get a 3rd villager before the night of day 29. And at that point, I realized that I needed to raise the ceiling a little bit so these villagers would actually want to sleep in their bed. So I had to break out the ceiling and raise it by a single block to make sure that these volunteers are as happy as can be. And by doing so, my villager volunteers finally hopped in their bed and we can capture all 3 of them. I then had to move the walls 1 block up as well. The walls are there to contain the water that will push the iron golem into the lava. And of course, running out of cobble and bricks, I just spent the remainder of day 29 mining more cobblestone. And with day 30 upon me, I finished placing the cobblestone wall perimeter around the iron farm, and then brought the water, which will be used to push the golem into lava eventually, and then built up some supports on the far end of the iron farm that will hold up signs that will contain the lava You just gotta love that wooden signs are non-flammable in Minecraft. And at this point I was grateful that I spent the time in episode 1 finding that dripstone that could duplicate the lava so I can keep the cobblestone generator running and the iron farm at the same time. I then started to prepare to capture a zombie, placing down a boat that will prevent it from despawning, and then using some scaffolding to get around the boat so I didn't have to take any damage from the zombie after it's trapped inside the boat. And then cleared out the mobs in the mob farm so I can leave just a single zombie left. And once most of the mobs were cleared out, I then pillared up to block off the chute to make sure that more mobs don't fall in. I've learned my lesson from doing this before. And once I blocked off the chute of the mob farm, I then cleared out just a couple more mobs to leave just a single zombie left. And then opened up the mob farm so that single zombie would chase me while I run to the other side of the boat, which lured the zombie into the boat, which then will allow me to move the zombie into place so I can then move the zombie into place in the iron farm, which would cause the villagers to be afraid, which would spawn in a iron golem, which would provide us with theoretically infinite iron, bringing us into the iron age of this Skyblock playthrough. I decided to move the boat with water. This way I can keep my distance from the zombie to avoid taking any damage, because I don't accidentally want to make a mistake and lose this hardcore Skyblock world. And while moving the zombie, the first of many iron golems spawned, luckily in the correct spot, because I don't have the surrounding area spawn-proofed quite yet. And if the iron golem spawned on the ground and killed the zombie, that would just be one more annoying step to deal with. Definitely need to spawn-proof. I'm not trying to turn this Sky Island into Iron Island like I've done with other islands. But while grabbing my first of many iron ingots, I was chased off by more phantoms. This time I decided just to sleep the night away. I started day 31 by placing buttons around the iron farm in order to block the spawning areas, and it just so happened that an iron golem spawned outside of the iron farm, luckily being trapped in the block, causing it to take suffocation damage. And then continued to completely spawn-proof the area around the iron farm. And after getting enough iron to craft some hoppers, I started to set up a storage collection area for the iron farm, placing a double chest up front, and then putting hoppers behind the chest. But while doing so, I noticed the iron golems get stuck on the wall blocks connected to the stone bricks. So I removed the stone brick walls and replaced them with buttons to prevent iron golems from spawning, and then finished placing the hoppers into the double chest. This way the collection of iron is completely automatic and I don't have to think about it anymore. However, when I broke the bricks, the water pushed away the buttons, so I had to replace the buttons and kill one of the iron golems that happened to spawn outside of the farm. Ooh, would you look here? Working with all these villagers makes some cats spawn. It makes me really tempted to create an area where I can fish so I can tame some cats to have some pets. With our iron farm now complete, I decided it'd be a good idea to automate my mob farm as well. So crafting some hoppers to collect all the mob drops as they die, placing a double chest at the front of the mob farm, and then placing those hoppers back into the double chest. And then crafted some campfires to place on top of the hoppers, but happened to misclick while I was trying to shut the gate. That's a little bit of a waste, but that's okay, I know what I'm doing. I then placed down the campfires on top of the hoppers, having to craft one more campfire for the last spot, and then pillared up to release the mobs onto the campfire. This way I don't have to think about the mob farm at all either, because now I'm automatically collecting the items from the mob farm. But I might have to think of a better storage solution, because this is going to fill up pretty quick. Day 32 started with me replacing the buttons on the outside of my iron farm with bricks, completely enclosing the farm. However, at this point, I didn't realize I missed an important step. And at this point, the iron farm is not working. So I decided to actually start using some of the mods that I'm running. One being Trickaroo, which has a free cam, so I can help diagnose what's going on with the iron farm. Oh, yeah, I definitely know what I'm doing. So in forgetting to put torches inside the iron farms the villagers at, unfortunately, my villagers all were converted back to zombies. So having to fight to clear out the iron farm to replace them with new villagers, taking a fight with a skeleton that I didn't expect to hit so hard. And at this point, having the closest brush with death so far in this series. I'm not sure if that skeleton has an enchanted bow or what, but I feel like it's hitting really hard. So I decided to take a step back, get a little bit of distance so I can take out that skeleton without it hitting me anymore. Luckily, my original 2 villagers are breeding like crazy. So I made quick work getting 2 villagers back into the iron farm, but unfortunately one of them had different plans. Why are you over here? It seems like you want to die, don't you? You guys didn't see anything. And so I went to get the 3rd villager to replace all 3 of the villagers in the iron farm. Luckily, this one seemed a little bit more eager to go to its new home, and wasn't living life so close to the edge in the void. And it fortunately wasn't that difficult to get all 3 of my villagers back in place. And I just had to put out the campfires so I can secure myself another zombie. This time, acting a lot quicker, not being as prepared, so I had to run over and place down a boat to lure the zombie into the boat so it didn't despawn. And with my mad juking skills, eventually the zombie got into the boat. I then pushed it into place with water like I did before. I really hope this is the last time I have to deal with moving zombies and villagers into the iron farm. So knock on wood that nothing bad happens to these villagers. At this point, I started to get a little impatient, so I decided to jump in the boat with the zombie, which in hindsight wasn't the best idea. Just lucky I didn't die. And then remembered to place a torch, preventing more hostile mobs spawning. And then relit the campfires at the mob farm. And then finally, I can say the iron farm and the mob farm are both working flawlessly. So I upgraded my tools to make it a lot faster to gather the materials I need to start building my villager trading hall. Gathering spruce and dark oak wood. And then I decided with the abundance of iron, I'd finally make myself some iron armor to start off day 33. And at this point, I've been staring at a shipwreck that I've been too curious not to check out. But in bridging, I ran out of time during the day, so I head back to spend the night starting to expand my cobblestone generator by first expanding out the water. And at this point, I debated breaking the obsidian below where the cobblestone is generated so I can replace it with a hopper. But at this point, without a diamond pickaxe, I decided against it and continued just to mine cobblestone so I can start getting more materials and stone bricks for the villager trading hall. And of course, using my premium charcoal made solely of birch to smelt my cobblestone. I started day 34 by satisfying my curiosity about what is in this shipwreck. So bridging over and then using my water bucket to swim down to the shipwreck, I broke my way to the first chest, using up the durability and a fancy gold axe I found in a nether portal, only to find a whole lot of carrot and some suspicious stew. Of course, I've got to eat that. Poison, what a worthless effect. That's okay, I know what I'm doing. And then breaking my way to the second chest of the shipwreck to find more coastal armor trim. I think that's 6 now that I found. I then worked my way back to my sky island where I spent the night of day 34, continued to gather materials, and then started to set up a little area where I can store the materials for my villager trading hall. And then I began to build the platform where the villager trading hall will be built. I decided this platform should be close to the villager breeder because I'm going to be moving lots of villagers. And of course, continue the pattern of dark oak slabs, which would later be surrounded by cobblestone slabs and spruce fences. But unfortunately, I ran out of dark oak, having at this point created another mob farm on the partial platform that I forgot to light up like I always do. I then gathered more dark oak and spruce wood so I can get the remaining materials I need to finish the platform, as soon as all those mobs either burn up or despawn. And then finally deciding to go ahead and upgrade my cobblestone generator. Even though I didn't have a diamond pick, I decided to go ahead and break that obsidian block, knowing that I would lose it.
One eternity later.
And then upgraded my cobblestone generator with a hopper. And then in the morning of day 36, I crafted more dark oak slabs to finish the platform where my villager trading hall will go, and then spent some time continuing to upgrade my cobblestone generator. This way I can gather the cobblestone needed for the villager trading hall much quicker, adding an additional 2 hoppers out the back, adding more water at each spot, and then breaking these stone bricks to let the lava flow to create more cobblestone. However, the lava didn't quite reach far enough, so I had to go ahead and move the lava 1 space back. This way I can have 4 individual blocks of cobblestone generate at the same time, effectively increasing my cobblestone generation times 4, which should help me gather the remaining cobblestone I needed both for the platform and the villager trading hall. That upgrade already started to prove itself handy because I didn't have to mine cobblestone all night just to get enough to finish the perimeter of my platform. I then surrounded the platform with spruce fences to finally start building my villager trading hall. The inspiration behind this build is Viking longhouses, and a lot of the images I'm looking at, the Vikings would use thatch roofs, so I spent pretty much all day 39 planting and bone mealing wheat so I can craft them into hay bales, doing so all the way into the morning of day 40, where the fruits of my labor are really low, only being able to craft 32 hay bales. And in testing out what the hay bales would look like, I like the design, but I don't have the time to invest in getting so many hay bales. But anyway, I'll figure out something. Let's get back to building. Just a few more finishing touches and the structure of this trading hall should be complete. I may add a little bit more details later, but let's go ahead and take a look. As you probably saw in the montage, I decided to make the roof out of stripped dark oak. I think it was an effective choice, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. And of course, I need to remove that scaffolding, but I think I got the style of a Viking longhouse down pretty good with the limited resources that I have in a Skyblock world. But now it's time to start filling this with villagers. So I crafted some workstations, starting with some smithing tables, and then used some spruce trapdoors to start building the cells where I'm going to be keeping the villagers at, and placing down workstations in front of those cells, prioritizing workstations that would give me diamond tools and gear eventually. Hopefully that storm doesn't set anything on fire or convert any of my villagers into witches. And on the morning of day 45, the villagers started pathing to the workstations. I still don't quite understand how villagers path this way. You, sir, are more of a circus clown than a villager walking that tightrope to go find your profession. And of course, it's going to be no easy task getting these villagers into place. I would use minecarts, but I don't want to waste the iron that I potentially could be trading. So I resorted to pushing them into place and then locking them in with a trapdoor above their head. Man, why do villagers like to hang out by the voids so much? I then resorted to using boats to transport some of the remaining villagers. Being able to attach leads to boats is one of the best things that Minecraft Java has ever gotten. Using emeralds I found in shipwrecks, I spent some time leveling up villagers as well as trading some of the wheat to the farmer to get more emeralds, spending the remainder of day 45 trading with my villagers. My next goal is to get a couple Fletcher. Unfortunately, I only have one flint, so I figured I'd spend day 40 finding my way to another ruined portal. My only question is why? Why villagers?
Why are you the way that you are?
But ignoring those villagers, I went off the bridge over to another ruined portal, taking a quick nap on my way to turn the day from 46 to 47. But unfortunately, I lost my bed to the void. Sorry, Bella. But I persevered on until I ran out of dark oak slabs, having to make a quick trip back, gathering more wood and crafting a new bed. But by the time I got back to the end of my sky bridge, the sun was setting on day 47. So after taking a quick rest, I continued to bridge to the ruined portal during the morning of day 48, where eventually I was able to deploy my tactical water bucket to swim down to find what loot was in the chest, which had the flint I so much desired. And after a quick trip home, I was able to use birch for another purpose, to craft 2 fletching tables, even though the birch fought back, but still met his fate to become the fletching tables. Then, having to rescue all the villagers so close to falling into the void, I placed boats around to capture them and used the bed to lure them into the boats, having to repeat this process of placing the bed and breaking it a few times until most of the villagers got into the boats, eventually leaving one sole stubborn villager on the edge of the void. But we won't talk about him. You guys didn't see anything. I then pulled boats one by one into the trading hall, slowly bringing the remaining villagers until all of them were in place in the trading hall. Then took a quick nap to make it a little bit easier for the villagers to want to take professions during the day. Then I spent day 49 trading with the Fletchers to get emeralds, and using those emeralds to level up my other villagers until eventually I was able to trade iron with the toolsmiths, eventually leveling up the toolsmiths where I was able to get my first diamond tool, and then spent more time trading. And after locking out all the trades that I could do on day 49, I decided to take another quick nap, bringing me to the halfway point of this 100 days, day 50. Where I waited a little while until all the trades reset and spent more time trading with the villagers. But I think for now, that is a good place to call this episode. I've made it halfway through my 100 days of hardcore in Skyblock Infinite. It's kind of crazy to look back to see how much progress that I've made so far, where I finally have a few different diamond tools, a diamond pickaxe, an axe, and a shovel. My biggest issue now is I just don't have enough emeralds to continue to trade with my villagers. So I think it's about time to head to the nether so I can get some blaze rods, to get some clerics, to start trading some of this rotten flesh, to get more emeralds. What are you looking at? So I figured there'd be a good place between my villager trading hall and the mob farm where I can build up my nether portal. I always get a little nervous going to the nether in hardcore, but I think we should be fine. But of course, while building my nether portal frame, I miscounted it and had to break out the corners to finish the frame. Alright, let's light this sucker. Put my shield in the right spot and make sure I have food ready just in case there's mobs. I actually don't know what the nether is going to be like. I've never gone to the nether in Skyblock. And we're through. And this is kind of what I thought. I mean, why wouldn't the nether be mostly void as well? This is Skyblock. And I'm assuming this is randomly generated as well, so it's going to probably take a little while to find a fortress. But let's start off by just bridging over to the warped island over there. I'm definitely not super prepared right now to continue to bridge a lot, so I'm going to have to gather a lot more materials and probably use mostly cobblestone, but at least to grab some of the warped things here, the warped wood and some of the other warped plants on this island. But I'll definitely have to head back to gather more cobblestone so I can make more slabs to continue to bridge to find that fortress. I have no idea how far away the fortress is going to be, so I spent a lot of time mining cobblestone and turning it into slabs, and also investing some of my emeralds to get a second efficiency 2 pickaxe so I can combine those together. Using an anvil so I can mine cobblestone significantly faster. So I'm glad that these villagers are coming in handy, both so I have plenty of iron, and then also so I have plenty of resources to trade, so I can get more efficient tools. But of course, I have to deal with the curse of Skyblock, which is grinding to gather cobblestone or other resources so I can bridge for eternity. And as I started to bridge my way to find a fortress in the nether, I thought it'd be a good idea to bridge using a upper slab. This way, I don't need to worry about ghast or other nether mobs spawning while I'm bridging who knows how many blocks to find myself a fortress. And as I placed slab after slab, I couldn't help but being overwhelmed by the vast emptiness of the nether in Skyblock. Unlike the overworld, it is very hard to see what's in the distance. But I continue to grind the endless gathering of resources just to continue to bridge over the hellscape of the nether void. Looking for this fortress has become one of the greatest tests of my resilience in Minecraft. I couldn't help but wonder why I was even doing this. What seemed like aimless wandering, placing block after block, began to break me. I began to wonder, is this quest worth it? Would an elytra be worth it? I wanted to give in. It would be so easy just to jump to end this series and move on to the next. No, I can't give in. I can't give up. And as the sun rose on day 53, so did my resolve to accomplish this mission. I know that new situations can be intimidating, but you know, meeting them head on, charging into them like a bull, that's how we grow as people. So that's what I was resolved to do. Continue to charge forward until I found what I was looking for. Only many thousand blocks placed and many thousand blocks away, I finally found the fortress off in the distance in the vast hellscape of the nether. I was one step closer to reaching my goal of defeating the void. But you know they say, out of the frying pan and into the fire. And as I bridged closer to the fortress, the next challenge presented itself. The blaze that I'm after can shoot me from a distance, and I've been bridging one block at a time. And if I get hit the wrong way, I'm gonna go straight into that void. So I had to think quick on my feet of how to deal with this next problem so I can avoid getting knocked into the void. At first I thought just shooting the blaze with arrows would be good enough, but that proved to not be the best solution for this problem. So I decided that my bridge needs to be wider. Instead of making this bridge 1 wide, I decided to bridge out 3 wide. I found out quickly that a 3 wide bridge was better, but not perfect, and I needed to add a little bit more so I can make my way to the fortress without getting killed. So I started to make pillars on the bridge that I can hide behind to stop the blaze fireballs from hitting me. This way I can slowly make my way towards the fortress without getting killed, having to inch my way forward slowly, dodging the blaze fireballs as they continue to rain upon me, either taking the blaze out with my bow and arrow or having the blaze despawn. This process was slow going but effective, and I slowly inched my way towards the fortress so I can collect those much needed blaze rods, building 2 pillars at a time in front of me so I can make my way just a little bit closer. Where eventually I made it to the fortress wall, and I had to clean up a few mobs so I can get inside, where I can finally reap the soils of this multi-day adventure. Where there I was able to take blaze out after blaze, using my bow at a distance to take them out, switching to my sword or my axe when I got close, being able to get my hand on just a handful of blaze rods, but also being careful to avoid letting other dangers like wither skeletons sneak up on me. I would use corners to provide cover from the fireballs as I took shots from blaze from a distance, making sure of course to watch my health to make sure I can regen. I haven't come this far just to die in another fortress. And after collecting a handful of blaze rods, I quickly dispatched of a piglin and wither skeleton by breaking the floor beneath them so I can head home in safety, where I made the long 1,000-block journey back to the nether portal to teleport myself home. Once back on my home Sky Island, I spent my time on day 55 by first crafting a few brewing stands. This of course is an effort to obtain more emeralds so I can better kit myself out for what lies ahead. I was able to get multiple clerics that I can trade rotten flesh to get more emeralds, and use those emeralds to level up my armorers so I can get my first piece of diamond armor. However, 1 piece was not enough. I kept trading with the villagers to get boots, which happened to have projectile protection 3, which is pretty nice. Which also leveled up my armorer to master, so I can now trade for a chest plate and helmet to have the full set. So after a little bit more trading, I was able to get the chest piece, and then had to invest more iron to get more emeralds, because at this point I traded away pretty much all of the rotten flesh and sticks. But I had enough to finally get the last piece of diamond armor, and that felt great. But of course, regular diamond armor is not good enough, and since I found 6 different coastal armor trims in sunken ships, I decided to put them to use by making my armor look just a little bit nicer. However, I know this isn't necessarily the exact armor trim that I would typically go with, but it doesn't look too bad. And now with my new and shiny diamond armor, it's time to go get some ender pearls. So let's head back to the nether to see if any endermen have spawned in the warped forest biome. I plan to either kill endermen or potentially level up my cleric to trade for ender pearls, so I'm not sure which way is going to be the faster. I know without looting, the drops of ender pearls aren't super high, but if I make a platform over by the warped forest, I should have decent spawns of endermen where I should be able to get plenty of ender pearls relatively quickly. So I spent some time building a platform out of some of the slabs, making sure that they are spawnable. And I know I'm building this platform mostly out of wood, so hopefully no ghast spawn, which they typically don't spawn in this biome anyway. I'm hoping that by building this platform a little bit larger in spawnable spaces, I can make a very manual enderman farm. Not by luring the enderman in by an endermite, but by having enough spawn area where multiple endermen spawn. That way I can place them into boats so I can carefully kill them without taking any damage. And it just so happened that a couple endermen spawned in this biome already, so I was able to place down my first boat and break the blocks that this first enderman was standing on, and then push the boat carefully to trap the enderman in the boat. This way, if I'm far enough away from the enderman, I can attack it without getting hit. But unfortunately, this first one, I was a little too close. Took a little bit of a hit and almost fell off. But making sure I was far enough away, I easily was able to take care of that enderman, and also was able to get a warped nylium block. And then moved on to the next enderman, where I carefully expanded the platform so I have a little extra room in case it hits me and knocks me back. And this one walked straight into the boat for me. So I sized up this Enderman and got to whacking. But unfortunately, neither of these Endermen dropped an Ender Pearl for me. So I went back home to build another tree platform, this one to grow the warped trees, which in my opinion is one of the best wood types. Of course, having to use netherrack and the warped nylium to grow an area where I can grow the warped trees, and then having to plant the warped fungus and bone meal that into a warped tree. And continue to level up my clerics to hopefully get an Ender Pearl trait, taking a quick nap, turning the day from 57 to 58, so I can level them up a little bit faster. However, I wasn't lucky there. I'm not even sure if you can get Ender Pearl trades in Java. I know you can in Bedrock. But anyway, back to the Nether, so I can farm Enderman for those Ender Pearls. Another funny difference between Java and Bedrock is if you put an Enderman in a boat, they will actually teleport away and attack you. So it's really nice to be able to use this technique and not take damage from the Enderman. So in order to have the Enderman spawn, I walked down my path, making sure to walk far enough away to watch for spawns. And once a few Endermen spawn, I carefully placed down my boat and then carefully lined up, making sure not to look at other Endermen in the eye so I can safely start killing these Endermen to hopefully have some Ender Pearl drops. But of course, my first Ender Pearl dropped straight into the void. So to increase the efficiency, I decided to expand the spawning platform. This way it won't take 12 years to get enough Ender Pearls. I then got to killing. But then a piglin spawned, so I trapped it in a boat and then started to barter gold with it, which I'm glad that I brought with me, just in case. Through bartering, I was able to get some spectral arrows, some gravel and nether bricks, and the huge things are some leather, and my last piece of gold. Ender Pearls, please, come on, you can give me some Ender Pearls. Yes, let's go. But back to killing Endermen I go, because I want at least 7 more Ender Pearls. Okay, that's 15 Ender Pearls, which should be enough. But now I need some blaze rods to turn them into Eyes of Ender. So I made my way back to the fortress, having to take care of some wither skeletons, and then continued to take out more blaze. This time around feeling slightly more confident, with better armor to protect myself. So exploring further into the fortress to be able to find more blaze, where I was easily able to take out a handful of blaze to get myself some more blaze rods. I definitely just jumped into where the soul sand was, but I can manage to take a few hits. This is hardcore, not ultra hardcore, so my health regens, thankfully. Alright, just make sure I don't hit that zombie piglin. I do not want to deal with that. Alright, that should be enough. I don't think I need a ton, so let's head back home and start working my way to the stronghold soon. So you may have noticed I've been using shaders in the nether. And I've been back and forth about using shaders just because I'm really not used to them. So let me know in the comments, shaders or no shaders. But anyway, let's craft some of this blaze into blaze powder. Wait, hang on a minute. I thought it made 4 for each blaze rod. I'm definitely a little short. Let's go ahead and just make 1 Eye of Ender for now, just so I can get a general idea of which way the stronghold would be. All right, don't break on me. Looks like we're gonna be heading west. Oh shoot, I didn't mean to throw that. Don't break, don't break. Oh, come on, no way. With the leather I got from bartering, I decided to put that to good use to make some books, so I can make some bookshelves. I then can make those bookshelves into lecterns. This way I can get some librarian villagers, and finally get some better enchantments on my gear and tools. With my first librarian having bookshelves in the trade, and my second, I used my cycle trade mod to get myself a mending book. Mending for 12? Yeah, I'll take that deal any day. Alright, let's head back to the nether because I miscounted those blaze rods. Let's take out just a few more blaze, just in case I need a few more Eyes of Ender in case any more break or I lose any. This should be a quick trip. With those blaze rods collected, it's time to start working my way to the stronghold. I'm using upper slabs again, so I don't have to light up my bridge to stop mob spawning. I don't know how long this will take, or how far I need to go, but at least this time I have direction. As tedious as this grind is, my goal is in sight. I have all the tools I need to find the stronghold, defeat the dragon, so I can get myself some wings. I couldn't help but feel excited. I'm almost there. Just a few more obstacles in my way. But on the way, I took a couple little detours. You see, I've been looking at these sand structures off in the distance from my world for a while, and I wasn't sure what they were. So using some scaffolding to pillar myself up so I can check out what mysteries lie above. First, it's nice to have some sand so I can replace the dirt where my sugarcane is growing. And secondly, this is buried treasure, which is not that exciting, but at least I can get some iron and some food from it. And a safe place to put down my bed to avoid those pesky phantoms from spawning. And the second buried treasure was even more disappointing than the first. Just a handful of pieces of iron and a TNT, which I didn't even grab. And with that small detail out of the way, I continue to bridge, switching my controls so I don't have to constantly hold down the shift button. But at least I don't do it with my thumb. Bridging until I ran out of cobblestone slabs. So I went back home, replaced the dirt where I've been growing sugarcane with the sand. This way I can free up that dirt so I can use it for other more important things. And to eventually provide more passive mob spawning area, I placed the dirt next to the grass so the grass can expand out. And before I went to go mining, I enchanted my pickaxe with mending, so I can repair it by killing the mobs in the mob farm, ensuring I don't lose my diamond pickaxe. Using that now fully repaired pickaxe to continue my grind of mining cobblestone as the sun rose on day 64, and used that cobblestone to craft more slabs to continue to bridge all day in day 64. And with each block placed, I got one step closer to finishing my mission and reaching my goal. At this point, I've bridged about 1,000 blocks west of my Sky Island home, so it's time to check to see if I need any course adjustments. Knowing I'd lose this Eye of Ender, I threw it to see if I need to adjust my bridge direction, and it went off in the diagonal direction. So I started to bridge northwest, bridging all night until yet again I ran out of materials. Oh, that ocean monument looks really cool. I don't see too much out yet, but I need to head home to get more materials. So as the sun rose on day 65, I ran the long journey home with hope and optimism that I would find the stronghold soon. Spending day 65 mining more cobblestone, and then heading back out where the sun started to set. So I took a quick nap just in case more phantoms wanted to spawn, and then continued to head to the end of my bridge where I placed block after block after block until I noticed something off in the distance. Yeah, I think, that looks like it might be the stronghold. I know that's a trial chamber, which looks completely different. So I continued to bridge into the night so I can get myself closer to confirm if I found it. And indeed, I did. Using the remaining cobblestone I had in my inventory to bridge just a little bit closer, where my excitement grew that my goal is this close. But I needed to head home one last time to make the final preparations before the dragon fight. And you see, one of the most annoying things is running out of inventory space. So I figured, why not make an ender chest? And there's plenty of obsidian on the ruined portals. So let's gather out some of that.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
I should be able to make 2 ender chests now. One to put down in the base and one for my inventory. I want to put a few different things in here. An anvil, mending book, of course. And then I want to make some rockets, so as soon as I get my elytra, I can start flying. So I gathered my sugarcane and gunpowder and made a few stacks of rockets. I made one more lectern. This way I could get another librarian, because you see, you need silk touch to break an ender chest. And I don't mind wasting obsidian, because I can find plenty of that, but I don't want to waste the Eye of Ender. So on day 68, I cycled more trades with villagers to get silk touch. And then quickly locked in that trade because Silk Touch for 13 emeralds is pretty good. And then upgraded my diamond pickaxe once again with some Silk Touch. Having all my preparations finished, I went back to finish my bridge to the stronghold. But unfortunately some mobs spawned on the stronghold, so I decided to sleep the night away. This way the mobs will either burn in the sun or I can walk away and have them despawn. And once I knew the roof of the stronghold was completely clear, I jumped down into my water to make my way down to the stronghold. I only have one problem now. I only brought one bucket with me, and I really want to have that water just in case I need it during the dragon fight. So I decided I would use scaffolding to make a pillar back up to my bridge so I can collect my water source. I'm honestly surprised how much scaffolding has come in handy, both in building and just making things a little bit easier to get around. In this case, it helped me gather that water source so I can be prepared for this dragon fight. I just need to mine my way into the stronghold and hope that there are at least a couple eyes of Ender in there. Okay, I see one. Hopefully there's more than one. Anyway, I think it's time to jump right on in. Let's quickly break this spawner and deal with any silverfish that have spawned. Ow! Don't knock me into lava. Get out of my way. I'm fumbling. Okay. Silverfish are so annoying. What the heck? Okay, it looks like we need 9 eyes of Ender, which is good because I have plenty, and that would leave a couple Ender pearls to spare, which is huge because I'm better at Ender pearl clutches than water bucket clutches. So let's get those 9 crafted, and then make sure my health is regened all the way. Hey, get into my hotbar. Let's block out that lava really quick, just in case there's weird lag. Maybe let the water go for a little bit longer. Now I'm ready to light this portal. 3 more. Alright, am I missing anything? I've got plenty of arrows. I've got some ender pearls, water bucket. So let's go. Are you gonna go? Are you gonna teleport me, game? Oh, there it goes. Luckily, I don't have to bridge my way over to the end island. I can just mine my way up. And let's start taking care of these end crystals. There's one. This dragon fight shouldn't be too bad. The 2 things I'm worried about most is making Enderman mad at me, as well as the dragon knocking me into the air. But I think as long as I take things slow, take out end crystals one by one, and keep my composure, I should be able to take out this dragon fairly easily. Just have to make sure stick and move when the dragon shoots. That dragon breath can hit really, really hard. But as long as I don't stay in the same place too long, I should be fine. Alright, let's see if I can hit this next tower. This one's pretty high. Yeah, let's go. Can I get the angle just right? Yep, got it. I think there's just 2 more? 1 more? Missed that. Got it. I think 1 more left. And got it. Alright, all the crystals are gone. Now let's just chip away at this dragon's health. Of course, being careful not to get knocked into the sky or take too much damage from the dragon's breath. Alright, good hit. Hit it again, good. Alright, you're perched. Let's go to work. I don't know if the axe or the sword's better here, but I'll use my axe. Let's go. Hit. Slowly chipping away. Slowly chipping away. Oh, shoot. Oh, good. Didn't hit me in the air. Another good hit. Come on, perch again, buddy. There we go. Let's see, can I hit you? Can I hit you, please? There we go. Hitting it, hitting it. Okay, didn't knock me off. Good, good. I'm making progress. It's a little slow, but I'm making progress. Ow! Oh, that's an Enderman. Okay, let's just dig down. Dig down. Quick, 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 quick. Come on. Dig, dig, dig. Okay, it can't hit me anymore. Should be good now. Just take my time. Recover my health. Alright, get out of here. Good, got it. Oh, it's perched again. Let's go. Let's get in there. Oh no, oh no. Ender pearl, ender pearl. Whew, good. That was close. That was close. Hey buddy, are you gonna perch again, please? Are you gonna perch? There you go, you're perching. Take some pot shots while you're perching. Alright, get in there. This should be the last perch. Let's get in there. Let's get in there. Go, 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 go. Let's go. Heck yeah. This is the first time I've beaten the dragon in Java edition. I've taken the dragon out plenty of times in Bedrock. Let's get my experience. The sweet tingles of XP orbs. Level 91, not bad. I'm not done here yet. I don't plan to leave the end until I have my wings. So let's pillar up and go through this end gateway to see where I spawn. I'm also really curious to see if this is like other dimensions in Skyblock where there's not going to be that much land, but only one way to find out. I should have brought a trapdoor. I didn't think about that, but it's a good thing I have ender pearls. So let's just try to... Nope, missed. All right, try again. Got it. And it looks like the end is normal. That's actually kind of surprising. I thought they would be small islands, just like the nether and the overworld. Well, let's grab some of this chorus fruit so I can make some end rods and maybe purple later. And then start bridging my way to the next end island. I'm really glad I brought a lot of blocks, but I'm also glad that I'm not going to need as many as I brought. I saw an end city this way, so let's... Oh, wait, there's a ship there too. All right, let's pillar up with scaffolding and climb my way up. And I don't have enough scaffolding, so let's pillar up with slabs, which is kind of annoying. I just need to break my way into this boat and pillar up the rest of the way. And that elytra is so close. I think just one shulker is in my way. Hey there, buddy. How do these arrows feel? Oh, that one felt nothing. Open up. Yep, open up. Take my arrows. You're in the way of my glory. I don't care that you're hitting me too hard. Goodbye. And there it is, my sweet, sweet prize. That's right, the sky is the limit. Diamonds, heck yeah. Let's quickly pull out my ender chest and grab my anvil and that mending book. My inventory is a mess. The only thing I'm missing is unbreaking, but let's put mending on my elytra. With this elytra, I now can overcome the greatest challenge in Skyblock and fly. So let's head home, and I can tell you that this has totally been worth it. The grind of getting resources just to go where I want to go has been such a pain. Being able to fly should make that so much better. Back to the main island I go, where I need to pick up one last thing. That's right, I have another trophy from this conquest, the dragon egg. And I'll borrow the torch from the end gateway real quick. Come to me, my pretty dragon egg. I plan to make a really cool spot for the dragon egg on my island. But anyway, let's head home. We did it! I've overcome the sky itself. I'd call that winning Skyblock. But anyway, I have 30 days left where I'm gonna finish my base. But you see, I need some blocks. So we're gonna borrow them from a trial chamber. But first, I need a couple things. See, last time I got a couple shulker shells in the end, so I need a couple chests to make a shulker box. I also need a lot of torches so I can light up the trial chamber so no mobs spawn on the top. Because in Skyblock, if you leave one area really dark, there's going to be hundreds of mobs spawning, and I'm not prepared to fight that many mobs. Let's use the shulker shells to make myself a shulker box. That way I can bring a little bit more materials back. And with quick preparations done, let's head over to the closest trial chamber. These wings are amazing. I just have to make sure I gracefully land so I don't take any fall damage. And then I'll start by placing torches all over the top of this first area of the trial chamber. I could use MiniHut to find specific areas that are too dark, but I'm just gonna spam a whole bunch of torches. Now having lit the first area of the trial chamber, let's get to mining. My pickaxe is getting low on durability, and my inventory is getting quite full, but I did create an entrance into the trial chamber, but I'm not quite ready to face it yet. This process is gonna take quite a while. But for now, let's head back so I can drop off some of these items, repair my pickaxe, and get a little bit more gear so I can take on the trial chamber. It's nice that I can still put out the fires so I can get XP easily. I also want a better pickaxe, so I spent some time getting another lectern so I can trade with a new librarian. But that would have to wait till morning, so I spent the rest of the night moving the dirt and the grass. This way, hopefully I can get a friend for Bella. I'm really not sure how far away the grass needs to be for passive mobs to spawn, but hopefully this works okay. And the next morning, the villager took its librarian profession, so I spent some time cycling trades to find the enchantment that I want. And after quite a while, I finally got a good enchantment, Unbreaking 3. My goal is to make it so I don't have to come back and forth to repair my pickaxe a whole bunch. I need a lot of blocks to build what I want to build, but I don't want to waste too much time flying back and forth between the trial chamber and my base. So Unbreaking 3 should help a lot, so I don't have to go back and forth a whole bunch. And I quickly put that on my pickaxe. The only thing I'm missing is efficiency 5. So I figured I'd make one more lectern so I can get a villager that would trade me efficiency 5. So I released one of the villagers from its cage, accidentally releasing a couple more, but that's okay. Place some lecterns so I get another librarian. Hey, get back here. Get back here. And then cycle the trade until I found efficiency 5.
Eventually.
Finally, I can't quite afford that yet, but let's lock in your trade so it doesn't go away. But for now, let's head back to the trial chamber so I can keep mining more blocks. I think this next layer is the top of the trial chamber, so I think it's about time we jump in here and start taking down the trial spawners. I'm not sure what's gonna spawn here, but I'm pretty sure I can take it. Alright, there's the first one. I think it's spiders. Is it cave spiders? I can't quite tell. But just in case, let's keep the distance. In case they are the cave spiders. I think they're regular, but they might be cave. But I'll just take them out with a bow just to be safe. Oh, and I'm out of arrows. So, yeah, I think they're regular, but I don't want to mess with them, so let's head back. I'm so glad that I don't have to bridge and walk over every single time. While looking for some arrows, I realized that I have a lot of bows that I could combine to make an even better bow, especially because my bow's about to break. So I grabbed a handful of different bows with different power levels and then breaking levels and punch, and then using my anvil to combine them together to make an even more powerful bow. This way I can take on the rest of the trial chamber without much fear. Oh, almost forgot arrows. That's the reason I came back. So I'm going to change up my strategy this time. Instead of going into the side, let's take the trial chamber from the top. This way I have the height advantage, so I can take out any of the spiders from above. Okay, it looks like a slime spawner and a breeze spawner. That's not terrible. This should be pretty straightforward. Ow! That's right, they deflect arrows. Last spider, let's see what the spawner gives. Cooked chicken. That kind of sucks. I think it's just breeze and slime, so let's jump on in and take them out. No, and that breeze hit me pretty high. Oh, I'm in the webs. I gotta take out these webs. Come on, grab my sword. I'm great at this game, guys. I'm great. Come here, slimes. Oh, there's the breeze. Come on, get over here. Breeze they're a lot of fun, but they're so annoying at the same time. They're just hopping around like nothing happens. Oh, the slime spawner spawned a key. I wonder what I'm gonna get from the treasure vault. Alright, last breeze, I'm pretty sure. And let's take you out. Ah, come on. Oh my goodness, you're so annoying. Get back here. Get back. There we go, got him. Alright, let's see what I get out of the treasure vault. Ooh, armor trim, nice. A book. What book is it? What is it? Banes of Arthropods. That's awful. Let's head back and clear my inventory really quick, and then we'll head back on over to continue to mine. So far, I'm getting a lot of good blocks, but I need more. That bolt armor trim is super nice. It's one of my favorites, but I don't think I can override mine. I need a break from mining, so let's go explore the rest of this trial chamber. I know my inventory's a mess though, so this should be fun. Oh yeah, that's right, the pots drop emeralds. I could get a bunch to get that efficiency 5 book. I think these chests have the best loot in the trial chambers. Let's see what we get. Ooh, protection 2 and a disc, nice. I've never seen a room like this. What is that? Powdered snow completely on the bottom? What? That is very strange. Oh, I activated that spawner. I think it's just skeletons. I'm not super worried about just regular skeletons. I'm not doing ominous trial chambers right now. I don't have any of the ominous bottles anyway. So just a few arrows and these guys should be gone. Just be careful not to get knocked into that powdered snow because that could be the end of me. Last one. Got him. What am I gonna get? A potion. All right, some more skeletons here. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about trial chambers. I know they're still fairly new in Minecraft. I think they came out last summer, if I remember right. I think the concept is really cool, but it's really easy to cheese. I mean, just get these skeletons to fight each other. And as long as you're average at the game, like I am, they're really not that terrible. I know using the ominous bottles to make them a little bit harder is a little bit more challenging, but as long as you're just careful and you take them slowly, it shouldn't be too terrible to take out. Alright, last skeleton here. Oh, I knocked him off. Perfect. Oh, these guys turned into strays. That's a little annoying. Oh, diamonds. Ooh, I forgot they spawned diamonds in here too. That's awesome. Is that more spiders? Looks like it. I think my bow is two-shotting just about everything. I know I can't use it for the breeze. I'm pretty sure there's breeze in this room somewhere. Oh. You're watching a professional Minecrafter right now. What the heck? Is that like a shader bug? That's weird. But that... easy, quick work of those. Oh, and got another key. So that's not too bad. Oh, more breeze. Okay, I think it only spawns 2 breeze at a time in this level. Oh, water's everywhere. That's annoying. Come here. Get down here. Oh, activated the other spawn. I think it's spiders too. Yep. These can get a little crazy, but you know, just take things slow and you can easily just funnel mobs into a specific area and you don't have to worry about them too much. And with full diamond gear, I'm pretty stacked. Where are my crits? Double crit, look at that. Ow! Get over here. You're so annoying. Come on, get over here. There we go. Now let's see what we get from this vault. Anything good? Anything good? Arrows? Emeralds, nice. And armor. Alright, another vault. Anything good from this? Honey? Diamond axe? Interesting. Ooh, efficiency 2. Nice. What do we got here? Mending book and a diamond. Nice. That's not bad at all. Oh, another chest. Another bad omen bottle. Nice. Ooh, another efficiency 2 axe. That's really nice. Definitely not lost, and definitely not just gonna dig my way out so I can get back. I guess that's the plus of Skyblock. I don't have to dig a bunch of deep slate and cobblestone to get back. And I can just jump right on out and let's get orientated. Okay, and let's head back and dump off some of these goodies. I should have enough emeralds for that efficiency 5 book too. And home, sweet home. Just make sure I don't fly in here and kill myself. Yes, have plenty. I have 3 to spare, so I can get efficiency 5 on my pick. This should speed up things quite a bit in gathering the materials I need for my big build. And with that quick pit stop, let's head back and keep mining. Alright, my inventory's full, my shulker's full. Let's go drop off the goodies. We're well on our way to have plenty of materials for this build. And tons of tough bricks and copper blocks. Repair my pickaxe really quick. This mob farm I made earlier in the series, super helpful. There's only one minor annoyance when trying to mine out a trial chamber, and that is that the spawners will respawn the mobs every once in a while. But they're really not that hard to deal with, especially when most of the slimes just die from fall damage, and I don't actually have to kill them. Unless, of course, they are the large slimes. Then I've got to take them out a little bit. And of course, I have to take out the spiders, and then eventually have to take out a few more breeze. But all in all, it's a good source of tuff and copper, especially in Skyblock. Come here, breeze. I gotta take you out so I can keep mining. I'm just gonna get in the way. You know, using the elytra helps a little bit, especially because they don't deal that much damage. But they are so infuriatingly annoying. I wish that you could shoot them with a bow, because they just don't like to sit still. They're so annoying to kill. I mean, they're a lot of fun. Definitely one of my favorite new mobs, but they are annoying to take care of. But anyway, back to mining. I think this is the last layer of this room of the trial chamber, and I'm pretty sure this is enough materials for the build I want to make. So I'm going to call this section of the trial chamber sufficiently destroyed. And let's head back and start planning out this build. I'm going to need a little bit of warped wood here. So I spent a little bit of time gathering some warped wood or warped stems, which is kind of annoying, but if I needed a lot, I'd make a farm or something, but this should do for the amount that I need. I started this next build like any other, making a path to another platform. The platform's going to be a lot different than the other platforms I've made, but the bridge to the platform is going to be very similar, making it mostly out of dark oak slabs like I've done throughout the whole base. I plan to make the platform with copper, tuff, and warped wood. So to save on copper, I made plenty of copper slabs. This way I can make the platform most efficient as possible. I have a lot, so hopefully this is plenty for the platform I want to make. I also decided it'd be a good idea to vary the platform a little bit, so I gathered some of the grates as well. I think they would look really cool up in the sky, so you can kind of see through and see the void. And then I prepared some of the warped planks into as well, making sure they're slabs just so they go a little bit farther, because every 3 planks is 6 slabs. And grab my shulker box to bring it over to where I'm building the crown piece of my base, which I started by building some stairs just a little bit up, and then started using some of the copper grates as a perimeter to the platform that I'm going to be making. The idea that I have for this platform that I'm going to eventually build some towers on is to use copper grates as well as copper slabs. I also want to mix in some of the warped wood, just because I think it's a really good complementary color. I want most of the copper to oxidize, but towards the center, eventually I'm going to leave that waxed copper so it doesn't oxidize. I'm still getting used to Java a little bit, but I'm grateful the offhand works this way, where I can put any blocks in instead of just a couple blocks like you can in Bedrock. Oh, I think I hear a zombie. I didn't like this up at all, so there's probably one that spawned behind me. So I'm going to walk away just to be safe. Oh, and hey, there's a pig over there. Let's go get that. Hey, Mr. Piggy. You have a friend, a sheep friend. Oh, there's 2 chickens too. Cool. It only took me until day 81 to have 2 passive mobs keeping me company. Whoops, I meant to put the lead on the fence there. There we go. But after containing those passive mobs that are my new friends, let me know in the comments what I should name the pig. I decided to get back to building my next platform. I want to have it done by day 100, so I can't waste any more time. I definitely didn't struggle making an inner circle at all, and you did not see that in the time lapse. But anyway, this is the basic size and shape of the platform, and it's definitely a mob farm right now. But my plan is, in the center there, to make one tower, that is going to be the tallest tower, and then off to the right and to the left, and maybe a little bit forward, I'm going to make two other towers. One relatively tall and skinny, one a little bit fatter and not nearly as tall, just to make things a little bit more interesting. So let's make a few other adjustments here, making sure that my guidelines for the towers are in the right place. Oh, what? Oh, all of my villagers are zombie villagers now, aren't they? Yes, they are. Oh, that's disappointing. But you know what? That's okay. I have so many villagers breeding that this is only a minor setback. And I have all my gear anyway. I think this is the last two. Oh, and you're coming at me with a sword, buddy. And you got a bunch of armor. But I think after taking out these two, my islands in the sky should be safe again. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. But to repopulate those traders and villagers, let's just open the gates. Let all the villagers that have been breeding out. And I'm not going to deal with them right now. So over on this side, I plan to make the tall and skinny tower. So I'm just making a specific area for that tower to go. I think this size is pretty good. This tower is going to be about 2/3 the total height of the main tower, so I think tall and skinny tower would look pretty good next to it. And on the other side, I'm planning to make a tower that's about 1/3 the size. This one significantly fatter. This way there's a little bit more visual interest and asymmetry between each side, so the overall build looks pretty interesting. At least that's the hope. We'll see how it turns out. I'm not the best builder, but I'm not going for perfect. I'm going for good enough. But anyway, let's get to building. I'm going to start by getting the first tower built. Of course, out of tuff and copper. This is a good start. I really like that diamond shape. I think 3 more of these height-wise should be good. So let's get back to building. Yeah, this is really coming together. I think one more layer of that diamond, and I'm going to make it the oxidized copper, like the first layer. The other thing I want to add is the sides are a little bit bland, so I think adding some copper grates on the sides would look pretty nice. Again, I'm not going for perfect, I'm just going for good enough. So I'm just trying to make it look very visually interesting, but also not way too detailed, just because I think over-detailed adds a little bit of mud. So I spent some time cutting out some of the extra tuff where I thought it was just a little bit too much, and added some oxidized and non-oxidized copper grate just to break things up a little bit. Yeah, that is much, much better. That's starting to look really good. Definitely happy with how this is coming together so far, but let's get back to building. And I ran out of tuff in my inventory. But let's take a look to see how it's looking so far. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like the height. I just need to build a roof on it now. So my original idea is to build a dome roof on the top of this, and then slowly kind of making intersecting circles up to the peak. This way it looks kind of like a dome, kind of like a silo. I don't know why I think that looks good, but I think it might be a good idea. I'm following a dome generation tool to find the exact spots where I need to put the blocks so I can get a nice dome finish on the top of this. And then added some lights on the top just so mobs don't spawn, because I want to make sure mobs spawn in the right places. All right, let's take a look here to see how it's looking. Oh no. No. I don't like that at all. I didn't think building a roof would be that hard.
That's what she said.
But yeah, that needs to come down, and I need to think of a better roof design. So let's tear this down and build something different. So instead of a dome, I decided to go for more of a cone shape, but not like a direct cone where it just stacks in one block smaller each level. I kind of want to make a curved cone. It's kind of look like a witch hat in a way. I think that would look really good with this size of it. So here's the last couple blocks. And then I need to smooth it out a little bit so it's not quite as jagged. Okay, that is looking better. The scale is not right. It needs to be taller. But the overall shape I like better. Not awful, but definitely a little bit too small for the size of this tower. But I decided to start working on the side tower, especially because there's some mobs that spawned up there. Definitely didn't light up the roof. So I waited till morning to get up there to fix the issues with the scale of the roof. So I flew back up to tear the roof down a second time, to build it a third time, having to deal with a couple mobs before I could actually build. But nothing too crazy. But this time I don't have to rip out nearly as much. I just need to build it a little bit bigger based on what I already have. Making sure this time to add some light so I can work at night. Just a few more finishing touches, and I think the shape is going to be a lot better. There we go, much better. Definitely not perfect. I needed a little bit more in between each layer to smooth it out a little bit, but not bad. Looks good down here too. I think that's much better than that initial dome, and I think I got the scale pretty good. Next, I added some slabs on the side of the tower just to transition the overhang just a little bit into the build, and then kept working on the side towers. Capping off the fatter side tower with some chiseled tough bricks before I added the roof there. Let's take a look at the scale, see if I have the right height, just to make sure. Yeah, that's starting to look pretty good. I like that height. I just need to start building the third tower. And this one's going to be significantly higher. Hey, get out of the way. Like the other two towers, making it primarily out of tough bricks, but adding in some of the great blocks just to break up so much tough. This tower is going to look more like a watchtower than the other two. So I made some turrets at the very top, and then in order to make it just stand out a little bit more, I made one side slightly higher than the other just to break up the symmetry, adding in some grates just so it's not too much tough. Let's take a look, see how it's looking so far. Ooh, yeah, this is coming together really well. I really like the asymmetrical roof on the skinny tower. My original idea was to use copper on the roof of the wider, shorter tower, but I think using the warped wood would look really, really good. So I spent some time collecting as much warped wood as I thought I would need for that roof. I'm going to model this roof after the copper roof that I put on the tallest tower, just with the warped stem instead. Just smoothing out the roof just a little bit. It was a little blocky. So this portion of my base is almost done. I have the exteriors finished, just about. They may need a little bit more detail, but in the large tower, I figured I'd make some floors, and then connect those floors with a spiral staircase in the middle. Although, making a spiral staircase out of slabs is a little bit annoying, and this villager was not helping at all. That's okay, I have replacements. I used chisel tuff and polished tuff for the floors. This tower has one major purpose. I don't have time to fill the entire interior in my 100 days, but this tower is to house the dragon egg. So I modeled the top of the stairs after the bedrock pillar in the end for the dragon egg. Next I decided it would be a good idea to add maybe some attachment between the skinny tower and the tall tower. First trying with tough bricks, and since this area is so small, it's kind of hard to get the shape that I'm looking for. So I switched to using tough brick walls, just so it's a little bit easier to see. Again, not perfect, but looks pretty good. I'm happy enough with that. And then added a little bit more details in the third tower, just to break up the tuff a little bit more. Okay, this is looking pretty cool. I'm happy with it. But it's day 98, and I have to survive a couple more days, so let's make a little bit of an interior. So in the wider tower, I put down a crafting table, put some storage in, a stone cutter and anvil, my ender chest, and then was annoyed that mobs were spawning on the roof, so I added some lights to the roof, which will eventually oxidize to blend in better, and did the same thing at the top of the tallest tower. I had some lights, but it needed a little bit more. And that is looking a little bit better with the lights all the way up to the top. Continuing on the interior, I added some doors, and then had to frame in the doors using some chiseled copper blocks. I then put down my bed, used a diamond to make a jukebox, which is a pretty good investment, and then placed that jukebox down next to my bed. This way, I can jam out in my room, which is a great way to celebrate surviving this long. 99 days, 1 day to go. And as the day moved on from 99 to 100, I finalized the interior of my little base here by adding an additional shelf where I could put a chest where I could store all of the music discs that I've gotten from my mob farm. So those skeletons kept shooting those creepers. And this way, I can find any of the discs I want to jam out to. I wish I had my favorite music disc, Other Side, but I'd have to go to an ancient city, and I don't have time in this first 100 days. But ladies and gentlemen, we survived 100 days in Skyblock Infinite. My goal at the beginning of this series was to survive 100 days and to build an amazing base. And I would say these 3 towers behind me are probably my favorite that I've ever built. And we've made a lot of progress in this 100 days to build an awesome base. We defeated the dragon, got an elytra, and took on a trial chamber, and even destroyed part of it. But let me know in the comments what I should do next. Should I keep playing this Skyblock world? Or should I move on to a different series? I even have a poll on my channel with some ideas. So if you're interested, go check out that poll and vote for what I should do next. But anyway, thank you so much for supporting this series and checking out this Let's Play. All of you are legends, and I love you to death.